Hello, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Sports in the Mix. Folks, you better put your seatbelt on because I threw in my brackets in the trash can. I picked it up, threw it back in, picked it up, looked at it, threw it back in again. But I'm going to tell you something. I got my guys. The crew is on, putting that Steeler hat on. Dre Russell, what's up, man?
I am here, brother. What's going on? Steelers
I'm
in
all
the
right.
house. Yeah.
And we got, I don't know if this brother is a part of the herd. I don't know who he's with, but I know Simon says it's time to talk sports. Kevin, Simon, what's up, man?
March Madness or March Sadness, but I'm in the mix.
Yeah, man, it is so much. Basketball, NBA, March Madness, you name it. So we're going to lead off with March Madness. And I'm going to go ahead and throw it to Dre because, Dre, I sure was listening to you, man, about the Pac-12. Ask me how good the Pac-12 is and how worse the Big Ten is. And Kevin, you're gonna have to deal with the Big 12. So let's go talk Pac-12 first. Let's do
Pac-12.
that first. Go ahead.
Well, I got it. Hey, I'll be the first to admit I was wrong about the Pac-12, man, last week. And I think Kevin co-signed with me. I didn't think they'd win a game or two. And here the Pac-12 is making me proud, looking good. Still got some teams standing, SC, UCLA, Oregon State, so forth. They're looking pretty good. I think my Final Four predictions are still intact. My Final Four, I said Gonzaga, Baylor, Houston, and Alabama. Alabama's still in, right? They haven't lost anything, have they? So my Final Four is still intact. I'm proud of that. And you know who I meant to say this last week? I promise, guys. I wish now I would have said it because don't they look good? I'm talking about Illinois Loyola of Chicago.
Marymount.
Man, Loyola of Chicago looks good. And Sister Jean, 101 years old. How you gonna go against a sister praying like that? You can't go against prayer. Look at that team. Still a Sweet 16 bracket buster, man. I promised you guys. I almost said keep an eye on them. Because Sister Jean ain't no joke. And look at where they are, man. Look at where they are. Still going strong. So I might even pick them to win their next game.
Yeah. Well, if y'all remember, I picked Loyola Chicago as my Cinderella team. I had Texas Tech as my sleeper, but Loyola Chicago is the best defense in the nation. So they always got a shot to win it. And I remind you, back in 2018, they got all the way to the Final Four, lost to Michigan, and then Michigan went on to lose to Villanova in the championship game. But Loyola Chicago is for real.
Yep.
Well, I got to say this, and this happened in my home state, Oral Roberts University.
Yeah.
Talk about Oral Roberts, fellas. They messed everybody up when they knocked off who? Ohio State first.
Yeah.
Oral Roberts. Yeah, they haven't been good in years. I remember as a kid when Oral Roberts made, I think, a Final Four run long time ago. And I remember back then I liked Oral Roberts. I'm like, man, they haven't been good in a long time, but they look good now. I think it's been more upsets or surprises, we'll call them, than I think I'll probably ever in the final in college basketball's March Madness. It's been a ton of them. I was totally wrong when I said Illinois. Even though I didn't pick Illinois to win the Midwest, I still said they had the easiest road to the Final Four out of the top seeds, and they're out. And I said Gonzaga had an easy road also, and they're still alive. But back to Oral Roberts, man, they look good. I don't know, Cedric, if you've been to any of their games this year, but they're a good, solid basketball team. Good, solid team.
Oral Roberts
too, didn't they?
Oral Roberts hasn't won a tournament game since 1974. Yep. But it's not a fluke because they have the leading scorer in Max Asmus out of Rockwall, Texas. Played high school basketball in Dallas Jesuit, where Emmitt Smith's son went to school. So they're the leading scorer. They also are the best free throw shooting team in the nation. So they're not a fluke. They're a pretty good basketball team. I don't know if they'll go any further, but they got some big wins on the way, knocking out Ohio State, which ruined my bracket, and then beating Florida as well.
Well, a number 15 seed, man.
Yeah.
Who would think Oral Roberts, a number 15 seed, would be going to the Sweet 16? Look at that.
Yeah. Only the second 15 seed. Florida Gulf Coast back in 2013 was the first 15 seed to get to the Sweet 16. So Oral Roberts is just the second 15 seed to do that.
Yeah. Well, my Final Four is I had Baylor, and I have Gonzaga, but then I also put Illinois in there, and I had Ohio State. I had Ohio State in that thing, so I was done.
How many times you say you threw your brackets away, Cedric? How many times?
Hey, listen.
Threw it away, picked it out, and threw it away again.
I got my trash can right here. Opened that little deal, went down there, picked it up, threw it back in there again, and I'm done.
Yeah, well, half of my Final Four teams already out, so you better shape than me. I picked, I went heavy Big Ten. The Big Ten has been a disappointment. I had Illinois and Ohio State getting to the Final Four. The Big Ten is, they only have 2 teams left. They had 9 teams in. They got Michigan and Maryland left, so they were a big disappointment. Overrated.
Wait. Are y'all saying I'm the only one here that's got all 4 teams still alive?
Yeah, I think so.
1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 of them still alive? What?
I think so. Yeah.
Watch out now. Watch out.
Let me tell you, I watched that first half of that game between Michigan and LSU. Them boys down at LSU come to play. And Juwan Howard, he gonna have to earn that paycheck on that game. And here's the crazy thing about it. When you have an 8th seed versus a 9th seed, and they know that they're a 50-50 chance, they know that they're automatically going to go against a 1 seed next. So they got to bring their A game. You know what I mean? They got to.
Yeah, it's a tough game match. A 1-point game right now at halftime. So that Michigan LSU game is there. And we thought it would be. It's a good game. Yeah,
and we're going to come back a little later and talk about that. But I do want to say this. I'm proud of the South. When I say the South, I'm talking about the state of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin, how many teams came from Texas to play basketball, man?
Yeah, Texas had 7 teams in the tournament. Houston's still in there. Of course, Texas Tech got knocked out. Texas Southern got knocked out. They still, Abilene Christian, of course, they just got knocked out. But Texas was represented fairly well with Baylor still going, Houston still going, as I mentioned. And so, yeah, a lot of teams.
In North Texas, I mean,
in North Texas, they made it. Yeah, they got knocked out, but they took out Purdue, another Big Ten team that got knocked out. They took out, and that ball game wasn't even close. I mean, they double-digit lead and beat Purdue. And so, yeah, a lot of teams out of the great state of Texas. The Big 12 is actually a better basketball conference now than it is a football, which is not saying much because Texas prides itself on being a football state, but that's not the case right now.
Kevin Simon, can you remind me who did Abilene Christian lose to, brother?
Abilene Christian lost. Who did they lose to?
Now, UCLA.
Come on,
fight.
The Pac-12 represent. But who did they knock out? We forgot about the University of Texas. That was another of those Texas teams. Abilene Christian knocked out. And I thought Shaka Smart had gotten himself off the hot seat by winning the conference tournament. And he got right back on the hot seat, losing that first round game to a mid-major who shot 29.9% from the field and 16% from 3. And they still beat the University of Texas.
Yes, sir.
That's sad.
They did, man. I feel sorry for Oklahoma State. I just got to say it, guys. I was hoping they go further because, the kid, Cunningham, I think it's going to be the first pick in the NBA draft. I just wanted to see him play in some more games and bigger games, but they could not handle Oregon State, took them out.
Listen, look at what Oregon State has done. Oregon State was picked last to finish in the Pac-12. They've already taken out Tennessee.
Yep.
And beat them. They beat both teams, Tennessee and Oklahoma State, by double digits. So that's how good Oregon State has been playing so far. But if you watch that game, Cade, he was at the end of that game. He didn't have his legs. All of his shots were short. Yeah, all of his shots were short at the end of that game.
You know what? I had to say, by the way, we forgot. There was one team that never got to hit the court because they had COVID, and that was VCU, right?
Yep. Virginia Commonwealth. And that's how Oregon basically had a first round bye and, got through that first round because VCU had to have a seat because of COVID. So, yeah, that's hopefully that'll be it,
Can I tell you, Cedric, how many Texas teams you said lost, Cedric? I'm sorry. How many?
Almost
7. Yeah,
North Texas. North
Texas,
Texas
Baylor,
Tech. Whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
but I do like Houston. I love Houston, though.
Teams. Yeah, they had 17 5 around. They still got Houston and Baylor, but yeah.
Yep.
And those are football towns. What I mean?
Right.
But there's 2 teams we have not talked about yet. One is Syracuse. Jim Boeheim's son.
Buddy Bayhine, Buddy Bayhine, Buddy Buckets.
I didn't see that coming. I did not see them being this good. I really didn't.
Man.
And I didn't know his son could play. I didn't think the kid was any. I thought it was just a coach's son on the team. The boys delivering, man.
Yeah, had 25 points.
That's what I'm saying.
Six 3-pointers. Yeah, Buddy Buckets. That's what they calling him now.
And who did they knock off? It was Texas Tech. Who did they knock off? Who did Syracuse? It was a close game on that last one, man.
Yeah, that was a good game. Now we got to look at this, but yeah,
I forgot who they lost to, but I mean who they beat rather.
Yeah, but it was exciting to watch, and we're going to break down these.
They beat West Virginia, didn't they?
Yes.
No, they played them, or do they play them next?
That was they beat.
That was West Virginia. Yeah.
Syracuse beat West Virginia. Yeah.
Yep. Right.
But let me tell you, he did great. Now another team we ain't talked about is Villanova.
Villanova.
Yeah.
And Cedric, they took out your Winthrop team, though. You liked Winthrop. That was your Cinderella, right? So,
man.
Nova, man. You know they got a great coach, man.
Oh, yeah.
They got a great coach.
This is their time of year. They show up every year at this time, man, and play well. You know?
Yeah. And they got Texas, they got some help from North Texas who knocked out Purdue. So that would have given Villanova a little bit of a test. But so far, Villanova's had a pretty easy ride with Winthrop and now North Texas. And so maybe they'll get a tougher matchup. They will get a tough matchup. They got Baylor next.
So what do you think about these regions, how they're doing this? And we hadn't talked about the women, but I'll tell you a little bit about that because that's going on in Texas. But the state of Indiana, and by the way, man, the commercials have been off the chain. You know what I mean? I don't know. I got to give Capital One props, man. They throwing the kitchen sink at you in them commercials, man.
Yeah, with Barkley and they always make some pretty good commercials during tournament time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those have been some incredible commercials. I like Uber Eats; they're doing really good.
Yeah,
the insurance companies with Allstate and Geico. I mean, it's just amazing the marketing. The NCAA, they are making some money, man.
Making up for last year. Yeah, making up for last year, man. Nothing. Think about it. This time last year, we were all shocked, didn't know what was happening, and there was nothing going on. No basketball.
Not a thing.
They're making up for it this year, though. And isn't it weird, man, how this March Madness, first you got all these upsets and bracket busters, but then once again, no Duke, no Kentucky, no Duke,
no
Kentucky.
North Carolina State. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, a lot of these schools and Kentucky, like I said, Kentucky, Duke, there's one more school that's always in there that's out. But man, it's almost refreshing to a certain degree.
Another school we hadn't talked about is Creighton, man. I thought they was gone. They got a break playing against Ohio University. You know.
Yeah, they're up big on Ohio, so Creighton to move on to the Sweet 16.
Now, speaking of the Sweet 16, game one will be on Saturday at 1:00 in the afternoon. It's Oregon State versus Loyola of Illinois. What do you think, fellas?
Man, I'm not going against Sister Jean. Y'all can forget that. Sister Jean know how to pray, son. I'm going with Sister Jean. I'm going for an upset right there. I really am. I'm not going to jump off the wagon.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup. Again, I go back to what I said before. That's my Cinderella team. They know how to play defense. The best defense, they give up 55 points a game. And so they know how to play defense. And if you got Sister Jean, you got a shot. So yeah, it's hard to pick against Loyola Chicago.
There's an 8 seed versus a 12 seed.
It's also hard to pick up against Oregon State the way they played as well. So it should be a good game.
Yeah, man.
It really should.
They had Oklahoma State looking confused. I mean, Kate Cunningham shot 2 air balls.
Yeah, I'm telling you, his leg. He didn't have any legs. That by the end of that game, he was shot. And so, I don't know what Oregon State is doing, how they got to get it turned out. Coach Tinkle. Wayne Tinkle has got him playing some good basketball down here, just enough to win the tournament, get into the tournament. Now they're in the Sweet 16. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something right.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to talk about those matchups that's going to be coming up. We'll do that in just a few moments, and then we're going to take a break to pay tribute to one of the greatest of all times who wore the jersey of the Lakers. And I know that Dre has been in the building with him. But when you talk basketball and you talk about Lakers, You got to talk about the great Elgin Baylor. We're going to talk about that right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. You're hanging out with the crew, Dre Russell and Kevin Simon. We'll be right back after this.